Welcome to Networking RX, a podcast devoted to helping business professionals like you enhance your networking skills in order to become more proficient giving and receiving quality business referrals and improving the overall quality of your life and the lives of those around you. The Networking RX podcast is a production of AmSpirit Business Connections, an organization whose mission is to empower business success through networking.
Welcome back for another episode. This is Frank Agin, founder and president of AmSpirit Business Connections. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to those who have subscribed, and thanks to those who have referred others to this podcast. Today I want to talk about goal setting. Just having goals with respect to networking, building relationships, and I guess goal setting really applies to anything. So you can take whatever I'm going to say here and apply it to literally anything. But I want to just kind of touch on goal setting and just some thoughts around how to set a goal, considerations. At any rate, imagine this. It's a championship basketball game, second half, no time on the clock. The team superstar steps to the free throw line. His team is down by just one, and he's going to take two shots. He gathers himself, bounces the ball 3 times, takes a deep breath, then shoots. Clank. It bounces off the rim. No matter, the superstar has one more free throw, and if he makes it, the game is tied, and the team can still win the championship in overtime. Again, he gathers himself, bounces the ball 3 times, takes a deep breath, then shoots. This time, nothing. It's an air ball. He misses. The game's over. The team loses. The championship is gone. Here's the question. Did the superstar cost his team the championship? Arguably, yes, he did. He missed 2 shots. They could have tied the game, or best case, they could have won the game. But what if I told you that in the opening minute of the game, another starter missed 2 free throws? What if I told you that 3 other players missed 2 free throws throughout the game, and other players missed countless shots? Any of those would have changed the outcome of the game and won the championship, right? Now, what does this have to do with networking and goal setting? The point I'm trying to make is that we put a heavy emphasis on the misses or the makes that happen certainly in a game, but certainly with respect to goal setting. We'll set goals and largely not worry about them until we get towards the deadline. So if you set annual goals, you get into January and you're like, okay, I've got all year. And so you might start hot January, February, and then you're like, listen, it's going to be a long year. I got some time. And you just kind of take some time, and the next thing you know, it's after Labor Day, and you're nowhere near your goals, and you say, "Whoa, crap! I've got to really kind of make hay to hit my goals by the end of the year," and that's you end up not hitting them because you haven't done that. So we put a heavy value on what happens there towards the end of the year, and if let's say you're in sales and you miss a sale in the last 2 weeks of December, it feels a whole lot more painful than that sale you missed back in January. And that's just the nature of goals, is that in the nature of results, is that we put a heavy emphasis, put a heavy price on our results, hits and misses, as we get closer to a deadline. And that's just a reality. Now, that underscores a point with respect to the timeline of our goals. And I ran across a study that talked about if the time between setting your goal and the deadline is too far, you run into exactly what I talked about. You have this mistaken belief that you have plenty of time, and you kind of lull yourself into inactivity when in fact you really need to work during that inactivity. So there's a book out there that I recommend you read. It's called The 12-Week Year. and it's a New York Times bestseller. It's called Get More Done in 12 Weeks Than Others Do in 12 Months. It's written by Brian Moran and Michael Lennington. But at any rate, what it talks about in there, it talks about the concept of annualized thinking. And we all get caught into this annualized thinking. People give us goals, or we set goals that are annual in nature. And what ends up happening is we run into this mistaken belief that we have lots and lots of time, and then we get kind of late into the year and it doesn't happen. I talk about it in the AmSpirit Business Connections world, where we have set goals for our chapters. Our chapters have goals, and January, February, and even March are pretty strong. And then it kind of gets into April, their spring break, they're kind of lulling themselves. Well, we've got time, and I don't want to say nothing happens in May, June, July, and August, but there's kind of this lull, and everybody's like, well, we've got time. And then September hits. Generally, right after Labor Day, there's this kind of awakening. Kids are back in school. Everything's kind of hit its stride for the school year, and that drives a lot of things in business. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, we've got to really kind of make a move. And towards the end of, or mid to the last part of September, things kind of get back into this mode of seriousness. We need to do these things to kind of hit our goals, and they're really kind of ramping up. And by about the time they're at the end of October, it's full steam ahead. Things are back to where they were January and February. The problem is that the month of November throws a huge speed bump in our way, a speed bump known as Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is not just a day. It's not just the fourth Thursday in the month of November. People are generally checked out certainly the day before and certainly the day after, but that's kind of extended into Monday and Tuesday of that week. Some even go before that. I remember when I was in school, not to really reminisce, but we went to school on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and that was just what you did. Now, a lot of times schools are out that Wednesday. I can't speak for all the schools, but I've noticed my kids' schools were out that Wednesday. And people were willing to, we'll take little Johnny or Susie out of school for Monday, Tuesday. Point being is Thanksgiving is not just a day, it's a week. And then the following week, it's time to gear up. And by the time then you gear up again, and Christmas, the Christmas holiday, New Year comes pretty quickly after Thanksgiving. So you can kind of look at November, December almost as like 1 month. Point is that late October, goals, chasing after goals and trying to hit results are moving at a feverish pace. But then there's these distractions towards the end of the year, and you really don't have as much time as you think you have. And that's the point in the 12-week year is that you need to look at your weeks like months, and just set goals for 12 weeks and really kind of attack them. And then the next 12 weeks do the same thing. The point is, have more deadlines, to a reasonable extent, have more deadlines, and you'll have more of that activity, that late game activity where the baskets, where every possession really matters. You'll have more of that. Whereas if you have annualized goals, that's not necessarily going to be the case. I look at it with respect to like weight loss. I mean, you can't lose 10 pounds in a week. I mean, people have and they do, but realistically, from a health perspective, you really can't lose 10 pounds in a week or really even a month. And it's 10 pounds over the course of a year. Yeah, that's doable. But chances are you're going to start to lose focus somewhere along the line. And so you're better off to say, you know what, I would really like to lose two pounds this month, and really focus in on losing 2 pounds over the course of the month. So the point with respect to this and goal setting is that don't set goals. Certainly have goals. Let me talk about goals here in a minute. The types of goals to set. With respect to networking, certainly have goals, but don't make those goals so far out there and give yourself so much time that you kind of lull yourself into this false sense of, I got plenty of time, and really end up doing very little when you think you have plenty of time. Because it's a formula for, it's not a formula for failure, but it's certainly a formula for struggle, where struggle is not necessarily needed. What I want to say about goals and the types of goals to set with respect to networking, or really anything, there are two sorts of goals. Well, I'm sure there are lots of other types of goals, but the way I look at it, there are two types of goals. There are outcome goals, and then there are effort goals. And the outcome goal with respect to networking is, want to have 12 new great strategic partners by the end of the quarter, the end of the year, whatever you choose to do. Want to have 2 new strategic partners this month, or I want to have this many appointments this month. Those are outcome goals, and it's like, you continue on my basketball analogy. It's like shooting free throws. You stand up there, and as good as you are shooting free throws, it's outcome related, and there's a little bit of chance that comes with it. But a performance goal or an effort goal is something along the lines of, I'm going to practice. I'm going to take 100 practice free throws. Now, you may miss 99 of them. You might miss 100 of them, but you're there practicing, and you're trying, and that's kind of an effort goal. And so when it comes to networking, what I encourage people to do is not be too concerned about the outcome. Yes, ultimately, at the end of the day, you need money to pay the rent or car payment or whatever it is, and so you need to close business and you need to have productive relationships, but you can't always control the types of people or what's going on in the economy or anything like that, and we've seen that over the past certainly year with COVID-19 and what it's done, and it really put a lot of people's business plans on their ear. But the thing you can control is I'm going to reach out and make this many contacts. I'm going to have this many conversations. I'm going to post up this many times. I'm going to do these sorts of like and comment on so many posts every day, and make a concerted effort. Those things are totally in your control. You either get on LinkedIn, like and comment people's posts, or you don't. To say, well, I want to get so much business or get so many new connections off of like and commenting, you, to a degree, don't have a lot of control over that. You might like and comment on somebody's post and they want to have a conversation with you. Or you might like and comment on 100 posts and nobody wants to have a conversation with you. It just depends upon who you're commenting, whose posts you're commenting on, where they're at, their predisposition to engaging in conversation with you. So just a couple of thoughts with respect to goals. Certainly have goals with respect to your networking. Have the deadline to those goals not be so far out there that you lose track of things and lull yourself into a false sense of, I got this. And the other thing is when you set goals, set performance goals. Set goals, not result goals, not outcome goals, but performance goals. These are the things I am going to do. Leave it in your control with respect to the things that are going to be accomplished. At any rate, if you know of an entrepreneur or business owner or a professional that seems to enjoy networking, or perhaps they're very well connected, maybe they're involved with the chamber or a professional networking organization, that would be a great person for me to meet. As you know, being networked is vital to success, and receiving referrals is a great way of generating business. It's actually the best way of generating business, if you ask me. So if you know of such a professional, work into the conversation. If you had the choice, would you rather be a renter or the person owning the building? And from there, they'll certainly chuckle. But what I'm driving at is do they just want to be in an organization, or they want an opportunity to perhaps own an organization? Just being in the chamber, you're just kind of paying to be in the chamber. But if you're a franchisee in AmSpirit Business Connections, then you have the opportunity to kind of build the mechanism, build the machine that other people are joining, and you're helping them become more successful. So if you've had that conversation, you pique somebody's interest, contact me or connect me to them using the email I provide at the end of the podcast, or it's also in the show notes. Or better yet, email them and me on the same message, on the same email, and connect the two of us. That's a great way to get the conversation started. There's no guarantees, but I would appreciate that.
Thanks for joining us on the Networking RX podcast. Please put what you've learned into action today and let us know if you have questions, comments, or ideas for future topics. You can email them to us at podcast@amspirit.com. That's AmSpirit.com. Finally, so you never miss an episode, be sure to subscribe to the Networking RX podcast through iTunes, Overcast, or however you receive your podcasts. Now get out and network with someone.
The Networking RX podcast is the copyright production of AmSpirit Business Connection. All rights reserved.